So for this show, I think the way I'll do it with you is we'll talk about each of the coaches before we get started on the play on the court. So I'll start with Mitch Johnson. We talked about it right after game two. I thought one mistake he made was in that situation there, you have to have the game at least go into overtime. You have to call timeout and set something up. I didn't agree with him letting that ride with the ball in Wembanyama's hands in the open court, and Wembanyama throws it up to Castle, hits it him in the back, and Brunson makes one or two free throws, and the Spurs don't win that game. Once that happens, the Spurs win game three. Then game four, my God, I think game four is really the make or break game for the series. In game five, the other night, I don't know what Mitch Johnson's thinking. 5 minutes left in the game, and Wembanyama's not on the floor.
2.5 minutes left. He's not on the floor.
I don't know what is going on in that
I know he gets
situation there.
winded. I know he's a winded guy, but that's ridiculous.
Deal with it this last 5 minutes. This is winning
Yes.
time right now. There's no coming out. And I don't care how tired a guy is. If you're an all-time great, they're not leaving the floor in that situation there, even at the young age of 22.
No, they're not.
It's just not happening there. And another thing, Mitch Johnson might have told his guys this, but in game four, now you have always talked about this, time and score.
Yep.
When you're up 29 in the second half, what's a good shot for you in the first half or an acceptable shot might not be an acceptable shot for you in the second half when you have that kind of a lead. The
Yeah.
Spurs, way too many times, they're throwing it up ahead and they're taking a three-point shot with 3 seconds, 4 seconds into the shot clock, and guys are closing out on them hard. That's not a good shot when you're up by 29 points in the second half. Now, Mitch Johnson, I don't know, like I said, if he was telling his guys that and they just were totally not listening, dropping the ball on that mentally, I'm going to blame him on that. That was not said and illustrated. Time and score. You make a team when you're up by that margin play the whole shot clock. And by doing that, you deflate them when you do have possessions where you score. In the second half, your game plan has to change. You can't come out in the first half like you came out in the second half. Now, I understand you don't want to take the air out of the ball and totally get your guys out of rhythm, but I just thought the shot selection for them in the second half of game four, I thought was absolutely abysmal. Once you have that type of a lead, you have to change your attack and your approach. So I thought them
Yeah.
not doing that was killer as well.
Yeah. Well, first of all, you gotta know how much these guys are allowed to coach. Second of all, everybody's been talking about this guy. He's the hot young assistant, like they're great on defense because the assistant coach. They have a guy like Wembanyama. That's why they're great on defense. But again, no veterans on the bench. We said this before in this series. No Mo Cheeks on that bench. Nobody there. And the thing I have a problem with too is, one, why do you think that when the lead goes from 29 to 17 to 15, it's a big problem. Then the shots have to change. Champagny pulled a couple of real quick ones. Not good. I know he was hitting in the first half, but once the game starts to change, if it's a heat check and you're still hitting, you're up 29, that's great, but you weren't up 29 anymore. One of the most underrated plays of that game is game four is Castle getting his fourth foul. The lead goes down to 15. Okay, that's a big difference because Champagny's not a driver, and the beauty of the Spurs is when they have Harper, Fox, Champagny, and Castle on the floor, they can drive it, and then they can throw it to Wembanyama too. So that's a big thing. So now you take one guy off the floor, and so now you have Vassell and Champagny. Neither of them are great drivers at it. Whereas if you have those other three guys on the floor, they can all drive it. So it's a big difference. That was a big play when Castle goes out with four. No one talks about that. The other thing is the coaching the other night was horrendous in a lot of ways. The big fella checks in the game with about 10 seconds left, Cornette, and they let him box out Bridges and not box out Robinson. So Wemby gets manhandled by Robinson, which you knew he would. If you go in double big there, you're putting him in to get a rebound. Why would Cornette wind up next to Bridges? And you have 15 assistants on the bench. I looked it up. There's 15 assistants now.
Yeah, that was your last. That was you had to have that rebound there. That was your last.
Now one of you guys caught that. Why would you let Cornette take Robinson? He's physical. He's a man. Wemby's 22. You let him take Bridges. But again, it's just a little thing. That doesn't mean that the coach is a bad coach. He did a great job this year, but they just missed a lot of situations. And as assistant coaches, like I said, I've been a head coach a long time. I've been an assistant coach a long time. You don't catch anything all by yourself, but at the same time, your assistant coaches, there's one guy who just does the replays. I mean, you got a bunch of guys there. Somebody's got to catch that and tell
Yeah,
him
we
to
know the
switch
guy for
spots.
fouls and timeouts.
You got to have a person who tells them that they have to switch spots there, and they didn't do that. So that's a problem. But just the coaching overall was, it never had Wemby cover Hart for a long period of time. I still like to see what happens if you make Josh Hart consistently make
Especially in
jumper.
this last game. I'm sorry, but I'm making Mikal Bridges and Josh Hart score 30 on me.
Yep,
That's what
and
I'm
hit.
doing. When Brunson gets hot, you got to be able to turn the faucet off on that, and they just did not. Brunson had 45 points. The rest of the team had 49.
We
I
talked
can't
about
lose
this.
like that.
We talked about this. Cleveland did the same thing. They let him dance on Harden, and nobody
Yeah,
doubled. Kenny Atkinson fell asleep. Must be a Spurs thing. I think he used to work for the Spurs. And here we are. And again, nobody shut the water off. And I hate to say it. I've been a head coach longer than both these guys. That's never happened. Because
yeah.
you know what? Now, I know I'm dealing with a high school player, but I'm also not dealing with a high school guy who's good enough to stop it either. So it works both ways. So bottom
You
line is
can't
they're
have
not.
one guy killing
Yep.
you. You have to make these 4, 5, and 6 guys beat you.
Yep.
Brunson just especially his mindset, he's not someone who's looking to facilitate first. When he's cooking, he's not going to be passive about it and say, "Hey, let me get other guys, a look here or two." He's going to
Sure.
keep pouring it on, and that's what happened.
The other thing too, you gotta have Hart be covered by Wemby. Also, you gotta have Wemby not shooting 30% of his shots for the series from three. During that big run where they're coming back, you never run a post up for him. Again, he doesn't have to play with his back to the basket, but you can get him the ball in the short corner. He can turn his face like David Robinson, Jack Sigma, and Tim Duncan did forever. Reverse pivot and have him play from 12 feet. You could do that. It's not that hard to run him a set and get him a touch. And if he keeps wanting to pop out to 25, you tell him, this is where you got to be a man and tell him, get your ass back in there. Take this guy from 12. One, it'll save you energy. Two, you won't have to fight so hard for position, which reverts back to one, saving your energy. Reverse pivot and play from there. Makes your job easier. And then you can hit cutters. You can hit divers to the rim like Joker does when he goes in the short corner and Braun gets to the rim. Bottom line is bad adjustments. Playing De'Aaron Fox too much down the stretch of games. Things of that nature. Obviously, a good coach, but not not a great coach. And yet, he's going to win an NBA title eventually, but you can't even count on that because when you're supposed to, now the noose around your neck gets tighter.
And the last thing, I think someone like Dylan Harper, he was your most consistent player in this series. Now I know Wembanyama is your best player, but Dylan Harper, the most efficient, I think.
Yeah.
He's got to get more than 14 shot attempts a game that he got in this series. To me, he's got to be at least close to 20.
Yep.
I thought that he was underutilized, and Devin Vassell talked about it after his press conference in Game 5. He said that he was kind of frustrated how he was used, and I don't blame him. He has to be used more than he was. They did that. Maybe this could have been a slightly different, but also the Spurs led for 70% of the time in the series. I saw
That's
that
correct.
stat. Unbelievable. So for 177 minutes, the Spurs led. The Knicks for only 56.
Yeah.
And this is where we talked about it before the series even started. We said the experience factor on the Knicks versus the Spurs, and the Knicks being an older team, the head coach having more experience. Mike Brown did an excellent job in Game 4 where he played Jose Alvarado to speed the game up when he was down 29 to get himself more possessions. And he
Absolutely.
also had an excellent defender out there as well. That won him Game 4, that adjustment that he made right there.
Yeah. And
So
and
Mike Brown being an experienced
yeah.
coach, I think he was able to outcoach Mitch Johnson, and that's another reason that this series went the Knicks' way.
Yeah, if you look, I mean, Vassell shot 54% for the series. Castle shot 37% for the series. That's terrible. Fox 34% for the series. Keldon Johnson did not get enough reps to play 15 minutes for the sixth man of the year. It can't just be because of the series was different. He just did not look the same. Just weird stuff. But again, Wembanyama's taking 30% of his shots from three. Harper missed those two easy ones, though, at the end of the game where they could have won.
Yeah,
Harper had two great moves, and for the first time all series, he didn't finish. And I was like, uh-oh. When he's not finishing, you know you're in trouble.
at the end of the game too, he missed a free throw to
Yeah.
the front end of that, and then he had to miss on purpose on the second one. But Wembanyama, also Uncle Dave, in Game 4, he misses two big free throws down the stretch, and then last night he missed a free throw the other night on down the stretch as well. So he did
Yeah.
not come up clutch on the foul line for them.
Yeah, and a bunch of people talking about call me or text me and You say, oh, you surprised they came back from 29. I was sitting with your aunt, and we were like,
Nope.
I felt they kept saying this game's not over
Nope.
because the way the game is played today, they keep breaking the record for comebacks every year, and there's a
Plus, when
reason
they're
for
at
that.
the Garden and they cut that 29 down to half, then you feel like the Knicks have it. You don't. You feel like you.
Well,
It's it's an accomplishment for the other team to hold them off at that point. Then.
yeah, well, we used to say 10 going into the fourth quarter. Now we say 15 and 10 with 5 minutes. If you do those two things, you're in great shape. But we've seen 16 with 3 minutes. So, the rules keep changing because teams don't run time and score anymore. And that's why it's not as smart as a league as it used to be. And, Sam Mitchell on WNBA radio is just screaming about how foolish they were. Charles Barkley called them the dumbest team he's ever seen. And he's right.
Well, he said that after Game 4.
And he's
Yeah.
right because
Yep.
you know what? Time and score matters. And I'm sorry. I mean, I know people say, well, these are pros. I'm not going to listen to you. Well, then you sub because you could take half the shots you took and still win that game.
What do you make of Uncle Dave, De'Aaron Fox, Game 4, not taking the ball and taking it to hit half court? Tries a shot at the rim, OG. And you know what? We're vindicated. We talked about how much we love OG. He won them Game 4 single-handedly with that tip in there, and he
Yeah,
blocks that shot. So what do you make of De'Aaron Fox not pulling that ball out there? I think obviously you don't have to attempt the shot there. Possession of the ball is of the utmost importance, and you have to make them foul you when you have to hit 2 foul shots. So you can't put the ball in harm's way. Now, if he had a clear open lane, I have no problem him taking that layup there and taking a field goal. Not a challenge shot at the rim. You can't do that there.
yeah. Well, first of all, I think he steals it with 16 seconds left. So you can't dribble out the clock like everybody lies. They're not going to let you dribble it out,
Yeah.
right? And if they foul you, you're going to have to hit two, and you'd be up three. At the best case scenario, they get the ball back. Second thing, old De'Aaron Fox, who was very athletic, would have flushed that.
Yeah, people
Uh,
are talking about online his old Kings highlights. So, like, this guy, he's definitely lost a step as far
he
as
definitely has. He definitely has, or
his
the ankle's
explosiveness.
worse than we thought.
Right.
Second thing is, OG, either that or he didn't think OG had a chance to catch him. We know OG's a stud. He probably should have realized OG could catch him, but he didn't. And so, he can't dribble it out. So I think it's a horrendous play, but it's not horrendous for the reason everybody says because either way they're going to get the ball back. The Knicks. They're not going to let you dribble it out. Now, old De'Aaron Fox is athletic. Like I said, I flush it, but we've seen, people always like to have these, crazy narratives, and we get it. Like you could say dribble it out, but like I said, they're not going to let you dribble it out. But again, flush it. If you don't think you can flush it, yeah, then dribble it around. But don't put up a soft layup, and that's not going to work, and it didn't. And OG makes a great play. My argument is OG had the best 30 seconds, I think, in the history of the NBA Finals. The only other 30 seconds I've seen like that was what Michael Jordan did during that flu game. He gets the steal and then he hits the shot. Did he not against the
Yes.
Spurs?
Yes, that was the same sequence against the Jazz. Yeah.
Okay, so this guy pins a shot, then goes down and gets the tip in. And
And there's
again,
there's like three of the Spurs there with him when he makes that tip in
and
too.
bad coaching on that sequence. They don't guard the ball. You can hear Mike Bream say it. Then Fox, I think, has a brain fart and goes over to help Wemby. I don't think that was a double situation. I think that what they were supposed to do, we don't have confirmation
Then
yet.
it was 4-on-3 at the rim.
Right. I think we were supposed to say double so Brunson doesn't catch it. But when they didn't do that, then Brunson gets it. It's like Fox got half the instructions and he runs at him. And you can see OG puts his hand up and just goes right to the rack.
I like Wembanyama being on Brunson on that final possession
Me
there. You
too.
have to just make him try to shoot over him somehow. You live with the shot that Brunson took, a crazy great play by Anunoby. I mean, you have that situation another 10 times, the Knicks might not score any of them, but
Yeah.
Anunoby, though, he finds the ball and he's able to tap it in for one of the best plays in NBA Finals.
But OG had the greatest sequences you'll ever see in your life. And to me, that's why he was the most consistent player in the finals. I know after Brunson gets 45, he's going to get MVP, but the NBA Finals has done this before. 1988, Magic deserved the MVP, but Worthy had a triple-double in Game 7, so he got it. But if you go back and look at the numbers of the series, OG was better. But they're going to give it to Brunson because of the last game. But OG had an amazing situation there. Again, some really shady coaching going on there again. We saw some with the fouling up three. Like the other night, the Knicks fouled way too early. The Knicks fouled at midcourt with I think it was 11 or 12 seconds left. You let that guy take a couple of dribbles and then you foul him. So now the Knicks fouled them. They fouled Harper. And now it's still 11 seconds left. So even if you foul him and you get and they shoot, you're gonna have to make two more because you didn't take any more time off the clock. You got to let him take a couple of dribbles and then foul him. So a lot of bad handling at the end of the game situation. That's the only mistake I can think of that the Knicks really made.
Yeah, and Harper caught the ball with his back to the basket at midcourt there. So
Yeah,
no
let the
time
clock
came off
run.
the clock. Yeah.
Yeah, let the clock run. Uh, but yeah, it's some tough coaching. Game three is definitely. I didn't think they'd come back the other night because none of the other Knicks had it going. But again, the Spurs the other night were even worse down the stretch. The Aaron Fox looked like he was getting paid by the Knicks. Just some bad shots. Again, maybe he's not healthy. I think he's a better player than that. I know he'll have a bad rap forever now. But I think he's a better player than that when he's healthy. And we'll see. He wasn't really healthy all year, and that's why the Spurs. I kept waiting for them to really take off. Now I know you could say, well, they were the 2 seed, but I don't know. I thought the Spurs.
It's easy to pile on the guy now, but I think if they run it back next year with this group, I still feel pretty good. This is a team that got to the finals, and
Yeah,
he's still a young player.
Harrison Barnes has to play more. Another mistake. You got to do that, and you got to have Wemby on Hart, and you got to give that a look. I know Hart shot well the other night, but you got to make Hart beat you. I mean, Josh Hart, he shot 40% from three for the series, which is very impressive for Hart. But at the same time, you gotta make him beat you. So Jalen shoots 42% for the series, wins MVP. But he has, he's got pedestrian assist numbers. And the other night he just went off. He took it himself, and I got to give him credit for that. But Mitchell Robinson was very good in the series. Jose Alvarado had his moments. Shamet finally got going and hit a couple of shots. Karl Anthony Towns, I felt got cheated. It's the worst whistle I've ever seen one player get in my life in the NBA Finals. This man had 3 fouls called on another person, not him, that were then flipped and called on him. I've never seen that in my life. I don't remember any one guy getting 3 since we've started this thing where you overturn calls. This guy got 3 in a series where they called it on Wemby. Neither time did he hook him. He took the ball and he drove. First of all, he can't see his arm, so how would he know to hook him? Second of all, he can't hook him while he's driving because he's got a dribble, and that would affect your dribble. This guy got 3 calls reversed that weren't called on him. It's insane.
Well, the NBA values Wembanyama more than Karl Anthony
Well,
Towns. That's probably why.
that's the biggest takeaway I have from the series. The NBA dodged a very real problem here. This was the worst officiated NBA Finals I've ever seen. Now, again, I don't want to sound old, but I've been watching since 1977. This was my 50th NBA Final. Okay? So this is ridiculous. This was a disgrace of the highest magnitude. Wemby the other night looks down again, steps on Brunson's foot. Brunson got the same closeout for touching a guy's hair extension. This guy looks down, steps on his foot, and they don't want to call it because that would be his flagrant.
He'd be out of the next game.
Yeah,
Correct.
but
Yes.
but this was the worst called series. Again, they get Towns in foul trouble 2 nights in a row. It's like they're trying to throw the game. The Knicks really did have to play 8-on-5 at the foul trouble. And people always go, oh, the amount of fouls were even. But fouls aren't all even just because the numbers are even. You got Towns out of the game. And let's not forget, the first 2 games of the NBA Finals, Towns was the MVP because they couldn't believe that he was killing Wemby. So what the NBA do? They got this son of a bitch out. They executed. And you can't tell me this wasn't a fucking agenda because it was.
OG was in foul trouble in Game 5 too.
Yeah, he was in foul trouble. He had 2 fouls in 3 minutes twice. And 3 times he had foul calls overturned. Ridiculous. So there was definitely the bat foam was blowing up. If you ever seen the old Batmans, the ref foam was blowing up in their pocket.
With Adam West, those are great.
This was the major bullet. The Knicks had lost this series. There had been riots of another kind. This was just a disgrace. This was just a disgrace of officiating. This was worse than the 2002 Lakers-Kings series.
Yeah, which goes down as infamy, that Game 6 as the worst officiated game in NBA history.
Yeah, and we know how that turned out. So here we are. Now they got gambling problems. But the problem is this was just awful. There's no 2 ways about it. It was terrible. And at the same time, the NBA dodged a major bullet because no one's talking about it because the Knicks won. But I'm here to tell you right now that if the Knicks did not win this and this thing was still going, people would have a real problem and they'd be accurate. And this is where the gamblers make you wonder, is this real? After watching that, it might have been.
A couple of different stats here. So the Spurs, in all the games where it was 5 points or less with 5 minutes left to play, they lost all those games, 0-5 in those situations. But we've talked about age and experience. This Knicks team, they've been in the postseason the last 3 or 4 seasons, and that that is huge for them, and they're older, and the head
Yeah,
coach has had a lot of experience. That's the difference in this series, I think, just that alone.
yeah.
And you also had some talk afterwards with the inside the NBA guys, which it was great seeing them in the
Oh,
finals
it's
to
the
see
best. The
Kenny
best.
Smith and Charles Barkley and Shaquille O'Neal and Larry Johnson call it NBA finals. For the post game stuff was phenomenal.
Yep.
And Rick Brunson, he still said, and I know you talked about it, he says to him, Patrick Ewing was the best Knick he ever saw. After all of the celebratory factor in the locker room after them winning the NBA Finals, Rick Brunson still was able to say, I love my son, but I still think Patrick Ewing is the best Knick. And then also, Charles Barkley talked about Jalen Brunson being the best free agency signing. And then Rick Brunson stepped in and said, oh no, Shaquille O'Neal's the best free agency signing. So you could just tell he's someone who's very humble and doesn't try to glaze his son.
Raise me.
Can I say Shaq was the greatest free agent signing? He was.
Yeah, but he was the number one pick in the draft.
But still,
And you expected the Lakers
him to be.
still, he left. He was the greatest.
No, but I'm saying-
and I'm
no,
going to stop the argument too.
Yeah.
You know, I love my son. Patrick Ewing, the best Nick that I've ever witnessed.
Somebody said it best. Jalen Brunson's the best free agent signing in New York history of sport. And that's right about that. Mark Messier and Jalen Brunson are the two best free agency signings in New York sports history. If you think about anybody else, it's Jalen Brunson and Mark Messier.
Plus, when you look at the fact that he left $100 million on the table to come to the Knicks specifically, I mean,
well, the other thing, too, is
that's golden right there.
he took a shorter deal. After 2 years, they realized what they had, and he took a shorter deal. And you got to give him credit for that. I guess he wants to win. But the guy's always been a winner. But as I try to explain, and you can definitely understand this, and being around hoop and having you guys being vertically challenged and Gordon being vertically challenged, the hunger that comes from always being underestimated.
Sure.
It's something that stays with you your whole life. I was there as a pitcher myself. That's why I'm ultra still competitive now. People think that's a disease. It never leaves your body because your whole life people just assume you're not good enough for.
You have to prove you belong always.
And Jalen Brunson has constantly had to prove. Not sure he went to Villanova, but that means Carolina didn't want him. It means Duke didn't want him. It means he's always being proven that he wasn't good enough.
He's won championships on every level, high school, college,
Josh Hart was out of the league. Landry Shamet was a nobody. Like, you find those hungry guys, and their roster is very similar to OKC's roster. You get that one really great player. Of course, Chet has now a bad rap, but Chet's still a productive player. He's just a bit of a unicorn. But you get those other guys who do a little bit of everything, and you go around with that one stud who's not a pain in the ass. And like I said, LeBron's a pain in the ass. KD's a pain in the ass. Steph is shaking his fist, running up and down the court, doing the helicopter and shit. These last couple of finals have just been a joy to watch with none of that bullshit. And here we are. You got the one star, and just, there's no more going under the goddamn ball screens. It's been great. And I have to say the coaches have been great because it's been creative. Even though they've made some bad decisions, it's been very creative. Like with doubling the ball, and then last night they forgot to double the ball on Saturday night. But people picking up full court you forget, for 10 years, LeBron, Steph, everybody just goes under every ball screen in the middle of the floor. It was disgusting.
Also, in this series, the Spurs had double-digit leads in all the games.
As I said to you one other time, Lakers in 1883 are up all 4 games in the fourth quarter and lost to the Sixers in a sweep. James Worthy had a broken arm. We didn't have him, but it didn't matter. The Sixers took over. But they were up in all 4 games in the fourth quarter and lost. So, I mean, it happens. But not up like the score the Knicks were. But not the Spurs were. But, yeah, those teams are living and dying by the 3 today, a lot more, obviously, than back then. But it makes the game change quicker, makes the tide change quicker. It's just the way of the game today. So you have to accept that that's part of it, and time and score is not as important to the players or the coaches.
What's also incredible about this finals, after the first 2 games, I thought Karl Anthony Towns would be MVP. Then after games 3 and 4, I thought OG Anunoby would be MVP. Then certainly after last night with the next one, I'm like, oh, Jalen Brunson's going to be MVP.
Sure.
Your 3 top guys, all of them through each part of the series, I thought at times was going to be the MVP. So it's just a testament to this just being a complete team. And I've been telling people who are Knicks fans and talking about it, I said, this is, for one season, I think you could say this is one of the best teams in the NBA as far as depth and camaraderie and chemistry. It's just, I think, one of the best in that regard.
Like I said to you, I still think OKC was was the best team if healthy, but we don't get to find that out. I said to you that them and OKC are two of the deepest teams in the league's history. I don't mean that from a quality of depth. I mean that from a quantity. They're playing 9, 10 guys every night, sometimes 11 during a regular season, and that's consistent. Quality of depth, because people forget. It used to be you had to have 8 guys during the playoff run, and teams would shrink their bench to 8 or 7. These teams don't do that. So it allows them to pick you up full court.
Especially when the pace that's being played in today's game as well. You definitely need.
And so it allows them to do that. And so the bottom line is the quality of depth. Yeah, I might, like I said, the 83 Lakers as deep as it gets. Quality of depth, 2017 Warriors are right there. 85 Lakers are right there. I mean, you got guys like goddamn, Bob McAdoo and Kurt Rambis coming off your freaking bench. I mean, we're talking about, we're talking about major players coming off your bench and helping you win championships. And then the Warriors had, Livingston and and had Iggy and Mo Spates, and Jesus Christ, you look at that bench. I mean, it's just absurd. And Barbosa, just insane people off that bench. And then the Sixers had Clint Richardson off the bench, Bobby Jones off the bench, just crazy talent off the bench. That's quality of depth. This was quantity of depth. These are the two deepest teams I've ever seen as far as quantity of depth goes.
To that, I will say, all the Knicks, though, that played meaningful minutes, they all had moments in this postseason where you can say those guys won you a game. Landry Shamet, Deuce McBride, Jose Alvarado, Mitchell Robinson, defensively and blocking shots on the board.
Yeah, and
all
Deuce
of them had
a terrible
moments.
series, but Deuce was good in the other series.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Through the whole postseason, these guys, though, all had moments, though, where they had their fingerprints on a win.
But here's the key line. Look, the key line of the series, you're going to get your best usually from your guys. Here's the key lines of the series. Josh Hart gets 9.8 rebounds for the series and 4.6 assists. He ties for the lead for assists in the series with the Knicks point guard. The only thing I'd say about Hart is a couple of times in Game 5 the other night, he was very passive. In the first half, several times they had Cornette switched out on him and a couple other guys, and they didn't attack. And that's why I thought the Knicks in Game 5 were not looking good. They weren't being aggressive. And Hart, the whole series, kept penetrating from the wing and throwing it out to the top of the key. And I kept waiting for that pass to get stolen for a layup going the other way. But it did not happen too many times. But at the same time, Hart's numbers just absurd. 4.6 assists, 9.8 rebounds is nuts. Shooting 40% from 3 and only 38% from the floor for the series is crazy. But again, you're right. Everybody took a piece of the pie. It was a real team win. And this is a great Knicks team. This is one of the best runs of all time. Now the good news about sports is you get to argue. Some people have recency bias, but then a lot of guys have old time bias. So you can't have either. You got to evaluate, and you got to know what the fuck you're looking at. So to me, I'll say that the deepest Knicks team of all time on quantity is no doubt about it. It's definitely the best Knicks run of all time. Does that mean they're the best Knicks team of all time? Well, that's up for somebody to decide. Those other things I believe are all true, and you can well document all those things. As far as, like I said, now you're going to argue about who the best Knicks are. Well, is this the best closeout game of all time for a Knick? Maybe. But Clyde had 36 and 19 assists. They had 38 more points to the mix.
Game 7.
So against Jerry West. So again, it's tough to say. I mean, they're both great, and I wish that this is where I told you. I warned you about this. And people will ruin this. Instead of looking at it and saying they're both amazing things and recognizing people get stuck on an agenda and they just push.
Well, that was highlighted in the Last Dance documentary. Michael Jordan's like, can we enjoy the moment for at least a second? People are like, oh, next year. And he's like, just enjoy this moment right now. You can't constantly be talking about
it's so hard
next
to win.
year.
But the thing is, and I hope your uncles are watching this. They're all Knicks. I know Carl was watching, but they all complain. Every Christmas, our uncles ask Ryan.
Yeah.
My brothers ask Ryan, hey.
What do you think of the Knicks, right?
Well, here they are. They better have been watching that fucking thing. I'll tell you.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I would give you 5-1 that they weren't.
I agree.
I mean, I bet you. I mean, you tell me Steve and Ken watched that whole finals?
Probably not.
Did your dad watch it?
He did. He watched every minute with me.
Yeah, well, it's easy because he's got you and Connor watching.
Yeah. He was
like, you gotta watch these things. If you're gonna bitch and moan about it, like you gotta watch. They'd be like me going, well, the A's aren't winning anymore, and then when they get into the fucking World Series, I don't watch. You can't have it both ways.
Right.
So I'm gonna find out if they were watching. But the thing is, you should watch. Your grandfather was a Knicks fan, so that's good to see. The Knicks went for that. A couple of my former students are the biggest Knicks fans
Well,
I
that's
know.
the thing also that I'm happy about
Happy
is
for the Knicks.
for Knick fans, because once you go more than a half a century without a championship, you almost feel like, did those Knicks teams in the 70s make a deal with the devil to say, hey, we can win, but no one else can? So it's finally nice to be able to break that curse. And we'll get into another topic about who we think the next team will be able to break their long curse.
But the Knicks, I'm happy for their fans. That's the best part.
Do you think, Uncle Dave, there's ever been a situation in NBA Finals history where, or a series actually, no less NBA Finals, we'll talk about the NBA playoffs as a whole, where a team, the Spurs leading for 70% of the series and losing the series in 5 games? I guarantee you we've not seen anything else like that. That sounds
No,
absurd.
no, it's almost like Atlanta Falcons-ish. The one thing I would say is
That's who people are making the comparison to after Game 4.
the Knicks did dominate them in game 2 until the last 5 minutes. Knicks
Yeah,
were
the
up
Spurs,
12,
it was reversed then. The Spurs were
yeah,
the team that came back in Game 2.
but couple of poor turnovers here or there. But yeah, I bet you it's never happened like this. I would say what's a subtle change, and this doesn't sound big. Until 10 years ago, the NBA playoffs, the home team won 58% of the time. Now it's
Yeah,
only
like teams on the road now have no problem coming in and winning.
it's 54% now. And that's, again, we talked about this. The tanking thing has made the regular season mean less. And so, like, even though the team gets a home court advantage in the playoffs, if they feel rested, the team that doesn't have the home court doesn't care.
I think
They
also
don't,
some of it is the way the game's played today. I think back then you could impose your will physically on a team and you would have the home court advantage. I think that meant something now. With the game being less physical and more open now with the pace of play, I think it kind of evens out home court advantage a little bit for you.
yeah, not only that, like, you don't care about pushing yourself during the regular season. So what you do is you'll take the road game. Like the Nuggets are like, yeah, we're happy with the 3. Spurs, we're happy with the 2. We don't care. We don't fear it. And you know what? I guess you shouldn't. The dimensions are always the same.
First 3 games in NBA Finals were won by the road team.
Yeah, I don't remember that. I'm trying to think. Like I said, the Suns were up 2-0, but I think they were home. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the only time that's happened.
Yeah, true, because the Rockets took 2 in Orlando, but then 1 at home. Yeah, makes sense. Because, it's yeah, I guess there's probably a lot of 2 out of 3s, but not 3 out of 3s.
Yeah, exactly. Not 3 for 3. There's teams that start out 2-0.
The Knicks, they just really were an excellent team. They were a team, and Clyde Frazier at the end. I was really happy. I listened to an interview. Joe Benigno yesterday had a special show. We had Marv Albert on, who's the voice of the Knicks for you younger people. You've missed it. He's a great voice. And then you also had Clyde Frazier on. I'm really happy for Clyde. I still think, if you want to be Brunson and you want to be considered Clyde, then you got to win 1 more. Clyde got 2. But at the same time, just really, really fun to watch Brunson be the overachiever. He did volume shoot this series, but you got to give him credit for having the brawn balls that he has. Definitely a ton of guts on that kid.
Plus, with Jalen Brunson, he was a second-round pick, the 33rd overall pick in the NBA
Yeah, Tony
draft
Parker.
in 2018.
Yeah,
And
like
all these other
Parker.
guys, besides Tyler Kolek and Mitchell Robinson, were all free agent signings or trades. These guys were all cast-offs at some point.
Yeah, well, the Knicks have 4 free agents unrestricted. You got Robinson, Shamet, Clarkson, and Sokan. But at the same time, restricted 8 free agents. They got these guys on the back of their bumper squad there who don't play. Mo Diawara. Player option, Jose Alvarado has one. Jose Alvarado's not going anywhere. He's a Brooklyn native. So there's going to be a lot of decisions for the Knicks. I think they'll try to run it back. I think that Robinson's a responsible kid, and so is Shamet, and I think they'll both want to play and stay here.
What do you make, also, Uncle Dave, in Game 4, where Karl-Anthony Towns tells the fans at a courtside to get closer to Dylan Harper so it's tougher for him to throw the ball inbounds?
I love that.
That is some great gamesmanship. And here's the thing about that play. Karl-Anthony Towns tips that ball. If he doesn't tip that ball, Castle's right there for the pass.
And again, it shows you how bad the reffing was. The clock didn't start. He got a good look at the basket because he was open.
That was even after the tip. They still had a chance for a shot.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable play by Karl-Anthony Towns before the play and then after the play to tip the ball. Because on that back screen right there, if Towns doesn't tip that ball, Castle's right there for the layup, I think. James Dolan, he went through a lot of criticism, and he was at a wash party the other night, and he when he showed up on the screen there at the event, he got booed. But then he also said, "Hey, I apologize for mishandling this franchise for the last 2 decades." And then people started cheering. So his story arc is crazy now because he went from someone who was, viewed as not a serious owner to now winning an NBA championship. It
Yeah.
just goes to show you winning cures all wounds, and that's a
Yeah.
situation I think with him.
But you know what? I think I feel like he wasn't a bad owner. I'll tell you why. Like I know when you lose, the owner gets blamed. But if the owner spends the money and puts his trust in the basketball people or the baseball people or the football people, what else do you want him to do? So like he spent the money. Unfortunately, he picked Phil Jackson. Disaster.
Well, that's the thing. He went and he got people who were accomplished in basketball. He got Larry Brown. He got Isaiah Thomas. He got Phil Jackson. He tried different things.
Yeah, he was a disaster. So for me, I think he's been a great owner. The thing with Oakley, it takes two to tango.
Right.
My point is he spent the money. It's like Uncle Stevie for the Mets. This guy's spending the most money in baseball. So what they do with it is their business. This guy just went out and spent what he could.
Yeah, he's trying different things, right?
Now, to me, Jerry Buss is still the best owner I was told. You never saw the man. He won a title, and you'd see him for like 6 minutes, and that'd be it. But at the same time, this guy's spending the money. I know Dolan, he said the right thing. He said, sorry it took so long, and I give him credit for that. But to me, like I said, this guy's trying to spend the money. I got to give him credit for that. And, I think, he's better than he thought. I know.
Yeah, he tried Mike D'Antoni. He tried different types of people. It just didn't work out.
They all had some success. The Indiana Pacers had some success with Donnie Walsh. Mike D'Antoni did a good job with the team he had. There's different levels of success, too. Let's be honest.
Plus, Mike Woodson, those Carmelo Anthony teams, those were successful teams. He just were going up against the Pacers and the Heat, who were very good at that time. You just came up short.
And the Bulls were still paying the ass. So, there's different levels of success.
Yeah, and Amari Stoudemire, all of a sudden the injuries just started to wear on him. So that also was a situation that was unfortunate.
There's different levels of success. You had the Jeremy Lin stuff. So here we are. This guy had a ton of success. So we got to see. I feel bad for a couple of former Knicks, though. Like Toppin was going to be a good player for them. He would have helped them. Precious Achiuwa is like buried in Sacramento. Good God. Can you imagine he was on the Knicks? Now he's in fucking Sacramento.
What do you make of James Dolan also, Uncle Dave, talking about before the playoffs started? He's like, for the next 10 weeks, no fornication. I'm sure that rule got broken, I'm sure, by some. I'm sure that was...
sure. Well, women weaken legs, but it's an old expression by...
And for no fornication, folks, that means no romantic sexual contact.
Or even non-romantic. We don't care either way.
Right.
But, so I agree with you. But, that was broken.
Goes to show you he's got a sense of humor or he's delirious, one or the other.
Well, he probably had a couple of cocktails, and you go with it from there. But, really, really funny shit. What else are you going to say? That was really funny shit.
Just want to talk about Mike Brown's journey as a head coach. He's certainly a journeyman. So Mike Brown, he's an assistant coach for the Spurs from 2000 to 2003, and the Spurs win in 2003 the NBA Finals. Then he's an assistant coach for the Pacers for 2003 to 2005, and he's under Rick Carlisle for 2 seasons in the Pacers. Then he's the head coach. Then he's the head coach for the Cavaliers from 2005, and at that time he's 305 and 187 as a head coach.
Ridiculous.
So, and he's coach of the year in 2008 and 2009 with
gets a really bad Cleveland team to the finals.
Right, with LeBron James. So the NBA Finals appearance in 2007, they lose to the San Antonio Spurs, which the Spurs at that time were just, a machine.
Yeah,
one of the best teams ever. One of the best teams ever.
Yep.
So Mike Brown's fired in 2010 by the Cavaliers after a 61-win season, by the way. And a playoff appearance.
And they lose to Orlando that year?
I believe it was Boston they lost to that season, the Celtics. So then he's the head coach for the Lakers from 2011 to 2012, and he's fired 5 games. He's fired 5 games into his second season as the coach of the Lakers.
Yep.
Then he's back as the Cavaliers coach from 2013 to 2014. So he returned to Cleveland, was fired just after 1 season there. Then he's an assistant coach from the Warriors from 2016 to 2022. And he wins 3 NBA championships there as an assistant coach, so he's there for the whole dynasty run for the Warriors. Yep. Then he's the head coach for the Sacramento Kings from 2002 to 2025. And Mike Brown
did an amazing job there, best record there, second best team they ever had.
Uncle Dave, he's 107.88 as the coach of the Kings. I mean, them letting him go is maybe one of the worst decisions the franchise has probably ever made.
Yeah,
All
well,
things considered.
they had that historic season. It was the second best season they ever had.
And he's got to feel some vindication because I don't know, this is circulating now. He got fired
He's a
a
fox.
day after he criticized De'Aaron Fox on a 3-point shot in which he fouls Jaden Ivey in the corner, and Jaden Ivey hits the 3-point shot and converts the 4-point play, and the Pistons win that game.
That's correct.
And he gets fired right after that because De'Aaron Fox is the franchise player. So him beating De'Aaron Fox and De'Aaron Fox not making the right plays and missing shots and him being able to win. I'm sure Coach Brown, he seems like a classy act, but you have to think, hey, you know what? I got fired maybe because of this guy. Now I wound up beating him in the finals. I know maybe he's not thinking that way, but I'm sure it's got to be sweeter in some aspects because of that.
Yeah, the other thing too is then why get rid of De'Aaron Fox if you already cut loose on
Mike Brown.
Mike Brown? So again, I've never seen a worse GMing situation in a couple of different franchises.
Yeah, the Kings are a
life.
mess.
Yeah.
The Kings are,
The Kings,
they're
the
rudderless.
Wizards. I mean, I don't know what the fuck the Mavericks are doing. There's rumors they're shopping Clay and Gabbard. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Are you gonna have nobody around Cooper Flag? I mean, like, what the hell are these guys doing?
Yep. So then Mike Brown, his first year with the Knicks now. Now he's an NBA championship head coach now. And
Yep.
the Knicks did the right thing with moving on from Tom Thibodeau because looking how Mike Brown managed the bench and incorporated different guys into the lineup, that was
Yep.
the reason they moved on from Tom Thibodeau because he was just not able or willing to do that.
Well, the
Knicks
funny
wound
thing
up.
is that whole narrative. I mean, he still did play a lot of guys. It's just that
I think also in Tom Thibodeau's defense, the Knicks got the injury bug quite a bit with him in the postseason.
And they also added a couple of guys. They also
Yeah.
added Alvarado and the guy Shamit's healthy, and there's a lot of different stuff out there. But it is what it is. And the thing that Tibbs did was turn the franchise around, which is very, very hard.
He did. I was talking to one of my friends when we were on vacation. He says he thinks he's owed a lot of credit because the Knicks, when he gets that coaching job, the Knicks are in rough shape, and he turns that thing around.
Taught him winning habits and winning ways.
So I think if I have a young team, like if you're the Orlando Magic, obviously they have now Sean Sweeney as their head coach, but if you're a young team, I think I get him as my head coach.
Yeah, if I was Dallas, I know Dallas they got rid of Jason Kidd, which was stupid. But at the same time, if you're gonna do that, put a young coach in there. Tibbs will grind you out defensively and teach you how to be a pro and all that other stuff. But at the same time, you don't know like what's gonna work for different teams. And are guys allowed to coach is always a big question. Are guys allowed to coach? And that's something that we talk about a lot. Like how many guys can really be allowed to get after a player? How many guys are allowed to do that? If they're allowed to do that, it's great. If they're not allowed to do it, it's not going to work. You have to be allowed to get after a player. And if you're not allowed to get after a player, you're just not going to have the chance to flourish as a player.
But Mike Brown telling me he doesn't know winning basketball. He was under Greg Popovich, Rick Carlisle, Steve Kerr with the winning Warriors teams. There's not a situation in which he's not prepared for. He doesn't have an answer there, and he's now an NBA champion. I feel good for him because the Cavaliers situation here, how many head coaches get let go after a 61-win season?
True.
I mean, and you look at those Cavalier teams, I mean, it was pretty bare, the cupboard there. Besides prime LeBron James, there wasn't much else there with him at that juncture right there.
No, I mean, they did not have a lot around LeBron. I mean, Ilgauskas.
I mean, Sasha Pavlovich and Anthony Parker.
Yeah, I mean, they had
Larry
some
Hughes.
Moments. Gibson had some moments, but but the Sacramento one really got them screwed. That team sold out the building again, brought them back to respectability, and then they hosed them. Just awful.
Yeah, well, the Kings now are very much regretting that situation.
The whole NBA Finals is attached to the Kings. Shows you where the Kings are.
So now, Uncle Dave, with the Knicks breaking the longest current drought without an NBA championship, who do we think next now will be in line to break their streak? I'm going to take out teams who have won in this millennia. So you have to have, if you've won a championship from 2000 on, I'm not going to name you.
Okay.
So we'll go through the teams here. We're going to think who are the teams that are best in line right now to win an NBA championship next. So the Bulls, it's been since 1998. The Rockets since 1995. The Blazers since 1977. The Wizards since 1978. The 76ers since 1983. And teams that have never won an NBA championship, the Pacers, the Suns, the Jazz, the Nets, the Magic, the Hornets, the Timberwolves, the Grizzlies, the Pelicans, Clippers. So who do we think is next in line here?
Well, I'll start at the bottom. Who's not? The Wizards are not anywhere close. They're a disgraceful franchise right now, although they could get to the Eastern Conference playoffs next year if Davis would stay healthy, but that's never going to happen. Plus, Trae Young's a punk. They're way away. The Pacers haven't won an NBA title ever, so we can't say. I guess they're probably the closest.
But you get Halliburton back next season,
And you have
and
a
you
great
added Zubac.
yes, the Bulls are in purgatory, so I don't think they could do it for a while. They would
So
have
Tiago
to.
Splitter, Uncle Dave, got hired as the Bulls head coach.
Now, why did Portland let him go?
We don't have an answer.
That's unbelievable. But anyway, so, like the Bulls are stuck in purgatory unless they can fleece somebody in the draft. The Bucks, I think, are going to be far away as soon as Giannis moves. Although,
Even if they get Jaylen Brown in return, because now it's hot now that Giannis Antetokounmpo could be on his way to Boston.
What happens if all of a sudden the Wizards get Giannis and give up the first pick in the
Well,
draft?
I'm saying that the Wizards now have Trae Young and Anthony Davis, and they have the
Right.
number one pick. So, I mean, they could auction that off, and they could maybe change their fortune around pretty quickly.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, I think, see, if you do that, I really believe Milwaukee could get back in it because Milwaukee does have some good perimeter guys around a player of that magnitude. And the Hawks have never won an NBA title, I don't think, right? So, like, they're the 1958, they're St. Louis Hawks, I guess, but I don't know if that counts. But, yeah, they're far away. So I'm going down the list right here. The Bucks are far away. The Heat are very far away right now. Very far away. They're stuck in purgatory. Hornets have never won one. The Magic have never won one. The Sixers are very far away unless they get rid of Embiid. Rumors have it Embiid, looking at Dallas, although I don't want him the Akupa flag. He's a jackass, but, what are you going to do? The Raptors, I think, are closer than people think, and they've won one recently.
Well, the Raptors won in 2019, yeah,
Right.
so I'm not including
Right.
them.
So the Pistons haven't won 4, so, it's tough. It's tough to say. The Lakers have won recently. The Rockets had won in 1995. So the Rockets are probably.
Well, I mean, what's going to be the situation with Kevin Durant? We don't know.
Yeah, Rockets are kind of far away, but they'll screw it up because their GM's already sleeping. The Timberwolves have never won one. Phoenix has never won one. Is not as far away as everybody thinks. I don't know why Phoenix would not get in this Giannis stuff.
Yeah, I think they should get in that sweepstakes.
If I'm Phoenix and I get Booker and this guy together, Jesus Lord. Portland, I think, is closer than people think.
Well, Damian Lillard, they were promising this year, and they're adding Damian Lillard back next season.
Yeah. New Orleans Pelicans, I don't know what the hell. They got Zion, the rope tied around their neck. The Mavericks have won in 2011. The Grizzlies, Jake, right now are in obviously
purgatory.
Basketball.
Well, they're looking to ship John Morant.
And as the fact that nobody's talking about this shows you that this guy must have some worse things than we hear in the public. Because the fact that no one's banging on his door, and we'd hear it, because I listen to NBA radio all day.
Online, it was circulating that maybe the Timberwolves might be interested in him. Imagine him and Ed Woods together. That would be kind of interesting.
Yeah, be good. Utah Jazz, I think, are closer than we think, but they've never won one. So, and the Kings, I mean, Jesus Christ, they haven't won since they were the Cincinnati Royals. So, the Jazz are closer than you think as a 22-win team. I think they just don't want to screw up this roster. They have a good 9 or 10 guys. They can play fast. They can play free. And we'll see. We'll see what they do. It's going to be really interesting. But
just on paper, I think right now the Timberwolves, the Magic, and the Pacers and the Suns just seem like the closest. Just
the Pacers
obviously free agency and the draft is going to determine a lot of how this changes.
Yeah, Pacers are the closest. I don't think the Sixers are far off with that backcourt. If we just get rid of Embiid and go grab a couple of players, I think the Sixers could get back in the mix. I really believe in Maxey and Edgecombe as far as the way the game is played. I do think that they need to go out and get a couple of more bodies. But, again, these max contracts kill these teams. Detroit is closer than we think, but they won in 04. What they do with Jalen Duren here, I'm not giving Jalen Duren $35 million a year without a post move. Again, he's a good lob catcher in a regular season. But if I'm Detroit, I don't know. I might go look at some things. I just looked at the free agent list. There are some good free agents out there. LeBron's a free agent. You telling me he couldn't help the Pacers win?
Absolutely, he could.
And Rick Carlisle's a good coach. He'd use him the right way. That'd be a great place to start. I just wish the Pacers would have won that draft pick. I don't have anything against OKC for getting it. But I just feel like the Pacers, with that draft pick and the stud coming back, would have been so much fun to watch with Rick Carlisle. The Nets are far away, although I think their coach is solid, but they won 20 games, so I'm sure they're not really considered close. But it's interesting. Great question.
Yeah, no, I definitely thought it was fun to think about the possibilities. Obviously, like I said, so much of this is going to change based on the draft and free agency. I mean,
Yeah,
that's going to
still think the
move
Pacers are the team.
mountains basically.
To me, the Pacers are the most close. Like I said, though, the Wizards, if they got in the Giannis sweepstakes, even if they kept Anthony Davis, I don't think they're going to win because Anthony Davis will find a way to get hurt. And I just don't think Trae Young's a winning player that way. But at the same time, like, you hope these GMs learn that you can't have all these max contracts. It just kills your team. And
It
so
does. It does, especially with the way the game's played now, with the fast pace now. You need almost more bodies out there
you
to
do.
be able to
And so now you
compete.
can't have 7 or 8 guys. You need to play with 12, 11 guys. And the bottom line is, if you could do that, but if you're gonna have guys take less money like Jalen Brunson, you could pull this off. But if guys aren't going to take less money, you're going to have those max like LeBron. If he's going to demand $50 million, he's not going to be on a good team.
Yeah, especially at this
Reeves,
age.
I'm sorry, Reeves is a hell of a player.
Not a max player. No way.
I spotted Reeves years ago. I wanted the Knicks to get him before.
Yes, yes, I know you talked about it. Yeah,
but I don't think he's a max player. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
If you want to put him with an Iguodala type back in the old days, I would do it. I think Tyrese Maxey's a max player. I have to tell you, I'm not thrilled with what the hell's going on with the Celtics here. How can you let Brown walk?
Yeah, it seems like that's just impending divorce. Like it's just going to happen no matter what. It sounds
And
like
then the
that's
Cavs are talking
inevitable.
about re-signing Harden. What the fuck did the Cavs?
Yeah, I don't know
want?
what's going on there. If
Again,
that's the case.
He
Plus,
got fired as a
he
GM.
got
You should be fired.
he just got arrested, by the way, for illegal gun possession.
Yeah, and I don't even care if he got arrested. He could have just won the Church Award. That fucker shouldn't be re-signed. He sucks.
Yeah,
the guy's fat. He's past his prime. And he choked. And he choked when he was in his prime. Come on, dude. Like, what the fuck kind of brain cells does the Cleveland Cavaliers GM have?
Analytically, we're winning the offseason.
Yo, that was the funniest. I said that to Mike Ryan. It was great. He's like, oh, poor guy. He's like,
I hate to say it, that's going to haunt Coach Atkinson unless he wins an NBA championship. That's going to haunt him, that quote.
It is the funniest.
Anytime they lose now, people are just going to post analytically, we're winning.
Meme-wise, it's one of the funniest ones I've ever seen, though.
Oh, my God. Like I said, it was so funny when in the NBA Finals, people were talking about the Spurs analytically winning.
I have to say, the Hawks are closer than you think.
Well, they were the surprise of this NBA season here, making the postseason. No one thought that. After the Trae Young trade, people thought they were mailing it in. So
if the Hawks go and get like a DeAndre Ayton, because he's a free agent, and they get I don't know what pick they have in the draft, but so if you're the Hawks and you get that 8th pick and you go
from New Orleans,
like say one of these boneheads screws this up, and we talked about I've never seen as many bad GMs in my life. If the Hawks screw this up, if these other teams screw this up and the Hawks go out and get a guy like Amara because they need size and a DeAndre Ayton and they can find a couple of good.
Because Jalen Johnson's only going to get better.
Oh my God, he had one of the best NBA seasons. You know what he did? He had a Marcus Johnson season, the most underrated player.
Looking, Uncle Dave, how the Knicks did against the rest of the competition, the Hawks proved how good they were, actually winning 2 games against the Knicks.
Quinn Snyder.
Because it looked like the Hawks, I mean, they're up 2-1. They had the Knicks up against the ropes there, and obviously the Knicks responded, and they won on it's unbelievable, Uncle Dave. The Knicks only lost 1 game since April.
I know.
Incredible.
I'm the Hawks, though. I get Mara. I pick up a free agent. And who the hell is getting DeMar DeRozan? This guy's a walking bucket.
You got to get him out of Sacramento, for Christ's sake, please.
I mean, Jesus Christ. He's killing me.
He's one of those guys, too. His game is like ageless. He can do that forever, I think, the way he's plays.
Like Jay Craw. He just can score.
Yep.
He's one of those fucking guys I was watching. I go, no way. He's just a bucket. Oh, my God. Now, here we go. This is why the Kings are the fucking Kings, bro. You know they have the Kings taken?
Well, Acuff I saw in some of the mock drafts.
They got the Kings taking Mikal Brown from Louisville. Here's a guy that didn't play because his back hurt sometimes. This is typical Kings.
Yeah.
How the hell are you taking him when this draft? I mean, first of all, Acuff they say he's going to the Nets.
Well, they took Marvin Bagley when they could have Luka Doncic.
If Acuff goes to the Nets, I'm getting an Acuff jersey.
Well, the Nets, I think that'd be a perfect fit because you know how New York sports fans love good guard.
I love fucking Acuff.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Pair
I'm
him with
telling you,
Porter.
I haven't seen a better guard shooter in my lifetime come out of that draft.
Well, the way you like him, he might have a couple 40-point games in the NBA season.
This year he's going to get
Yeah.
a 50 bagel because you know what? They're going to go under that screen. That shit ain't happening on some Wednesday night in January. He's going to get 50.
I think it would be a blessing if he went there. I think it'd be really fun. I think the fans would enjoy it. The Nets
He's a
fans.
fucking stud.
I think just basketball fans in general just like to see good guard play. They would definitely buy a ticket to watch him.
Just keep an eye on this son of a bitch. Telling you. Fans, telling you. That's the guy.
We just talked about in our last segment, the Jazz, considering they have the second pick and the players they currently have on the roster. Don't forget Kessler was out all last year. So having him added, and then if you get that second pick, you get that right. Let's say you get a DeBansta. That could be scary what they can do.
Talking about them taking Peterson.
Ace Bailey, who knows what'll happen with him?
Yeah, they got Peterson. They say they're going to take Peterson, but if I'm them, I hate to tell you, if I'm the Jazz and I already got these stud wings, I'm taking a grounded guy like a Boozer.
Yeah, but they're so loaded at the front court position right now, though, with Markkanen and Jackson and Kessler. I think you add Boozer there. It's too many guys, same feet in the same mouth.
Darius Acuff. I'm telling you, bro, it's going to be exciting. I can't wait. Acuff's a beast. I'll tell you what, if the Knicks could get Vasar like they're predicted to get at 24, that's a great pick. Vasar will block a shot, and he's physical as fuck. That'd be a good pick.
You're the exception where you don't drink, but most coaches,
I just eat chocolate.
Right, most coaches, they're bottle tippers.
Dude, I drove a lot of nights when the coaches would go out and we'd be on
the road.
You were
DD for sure.
Yep, I did a lot of nights. I got the van.
So let's talk about Victor Wembanyama for a second, Uncle Dave here. So for the series, he averages 40 minutes. The field goal percentage for him, he's got to get better on that, 42% on 26 points per game. So obviously he's a promising young player, but Shaquille O'Neal says he's got to get stronger. The problem is, though, at that height, with that body type, I think it's just hard for a guy to change his physique. So I think that's going to be a challenge for him.
But he's thinner than Tim Duncan. But Tim Duncan played with the reverse pivot. This guy could certainly get in the gym with Akeem and Duncan.
And Tim Duncan's still around the facility, and so is David Robinson.
And just reverse pivot. Just do that from 12 feet. That's all you got to do. All you got to do, bro. You can still pop out and shoot your threes, trail on the break. But reverse pivot and play, dude. You're only one dribble away from 12 feet. Make it easier on yourself. Again, learn how to conserve energy and be wise. Be efficient. God, these guys are so stupid.
I know he only got minimal minutes for the Spurs, but Carter Bryant, to me, I think there's something there with him.
He's an agitator. I like it.
Yeah, there's something. I think they have something special potentially with him as a good role player. I mean, his athleticism too. I mean, ridiculous.
I wonder what pick they have. Let's see what pick the Spurs have.
Number 20.
Oh shit! There's good players at 20 in this draft.
The scary thing is, what can the Thunder do at 12 and 17?
Oh my God!
They can package that thing up.
Yeah, but if Giannis is a bitch, I'm not doing it.
Reggie Miller talked about it on Dan Patrick's show. He's like, Chris Paul could have played an extremely important role for this Spurs team in this finals if they had him. You give him just 10, 12 minutes, I think that could have been a huge difference for them.
Yeah, a Mike Conley, a Tyus Jones, a Trey Jones, people who just know how to play. A Ricky Rubio, a freaking Luke Ridnour. You could have won with those guys.
I got to give the Knicks a lot of credit as far as, because we talked about it, the one thing that we thought could be the downfall if they were to lose would be that it would be too much of the ball sticking to Brunson and not getting other guys involved.
And it happened in Game 5, but he got hot.
Yes, that's the thing. If the guys got it going, then you could win that way.
Absolutely.
But you had enough guys involved offensively and in rhythm where they were able to just score enough. I mean, Anunoby, we talked about, we've been gloating about him on this show of how great he is. So it was good for him to get his props and doing it in Skechers, by the way.
Hey, he's a stud. I love him.
Yeah. And then Karl Anthony Towns. This was the best basketball he's played, I think, as far as his consistency and just not being up and down. I mean, he was, I thought, phenomenal for them for the series. Yeah. You look at his numbers for the series, 13 and 11, but the field goal percentage for him is the key thing. He shoots 49% for them. I mean, that was sensational, that what he did. And guys like Bridges and Hart just made big shots. I mean, that was the thing with this Knicks team. It seemed like anytime the Spurs would try to change the tide of the momentum, the Knicks just had an answer every time. They just were able to make big shots, and it wasn't just Brunson. Every guy had big moments in this series where Shamet would have a big shot, Hart, Bridges, Towns, Anunoby. They just were incredible. And Anunoby just defensively and his ability to make 3-point shots in the corner, his ability to drive to the bucket. I mean, Anunoby, Uncle Dave, shot 53% for the series.
I know, and 50% from three.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's just absolutely mind-boggling that he did that.
21 a game.
So for this Knicks team, we've now had 8 years in a row where a team hasn't repeated. So it's an uphill battle probably for the Knicks to repeat next season because you're the top dog and you're the hunted. But
Well, I would say that in the Eastern Conference, depending on if the season was started the way it does today, they'd still be the favorite because the Pacers don't get that draft pick. Them and the Pacers would be the best two teams, but we know Boston would be there. But Boston's roster, I thought they really sucked that roster last year, and they overachieved. And in the playoffs, we saw that. We have to see what happens with Detroit. What's Detroit going to add? What's Boston going to add? But right now, it's the Knicks and the Pacers, and the Cavs are done. You're going to keep
you think
James
so?
Harden? You say you're keeping James Harden? You got rid of DeAndre Hunter and freaking Garland, and you got James Harden. What the fuck are you thinking? I'm sorry. It's bullshit.
You don't give up two young players in their prime that are ascending for a James Harden who's,
DeAndre Hunter's 6'10",
yeah, with a handle.
can cover.
That trade looks now absolutely horrendous.
Horrendous. That guy's a good player. And so
Yeah,
now you're
that
gonna
trade looks really
re-sign
bad.
James Harden?
You don't take away two players for one that are just incredible like that. Garland and Hunter are really, really talented.
The other guy has had major problems.
He's had problems, right? Physically
And
as well. You know this guy's not holding up for much longer.
he's had a problem with this coach.
Yeah, I will say this, another team we have to mention that looked really good that will be ascending is the Raptors. Toronto Raptors, I think, had a very good year.
Yeah, figure out what to do with Ingram. This
Yeah.
guy, he's an enigma.
And the Orlando Magic, they get Wagner back for a full season. They'll have a better season.
Yeah,
if they
but you
stay
know what?
healthy.
They got to get more play out of the point guard. They got to be better. And we got this young coach going in there. He's going to deal with Wendell Carter in the post.
But I agree, though. The Knicks right now, like you said, we'll see what happens with these teams in the off season. But they look really good for next year.
Yes, they will be the favorite in the East. In the West, I still think OKC and San Antonio will be the favorites. And we got to see what happens. The Nugs, I don't think are done yet. We got to make some changes, but I don't think they're done yet.
No, Jokic is still too good. The GM, I thought, honestly, did a good job last year in the pieces they added.
Me
That's
too. I
another
just
thing.
think that young Adelman was not ready.
Very well could be. But you got to give a credit also to, just going back to the Knicks, Leon Rose. You have to give him credit to the roster they constructed. I think this is just from top to bottom, like we said, just the depth of this team and their ability to buy into their role. And like you said, the focus and drive of this group, you could see it through the screen watching. Just incredible.
Yeah, they wanted to win more than anything else, and that's not the case every day today.
No, certainly not.
Everybody's playing to win these days.
The leader, people like Draymond Green and Becky Hammond saying you can't win with him as your best player. So Jalen Brunson able to totally dispel that myth now.
Funny thing is Draymond sat next to him on the set and
Yeah, you apologized to him. Yes,
which I give him credit for.
Absolutely, yeah. No, when you're wrong, you're wrong. Everybody's wrong at some point.
Oh yeah, well, like I said, everybody's got their player or two that they've been wrong about in their career. It's just whether you admit it or not. Like coming out of college, I knew Barkley'd be good, but not this good.
Yeah, you didn't see that coming, right? Jalen Brunson, I think, is the same. Jay Wright, his own coach, even said it. He's like, I thought he'd be good, but I didn't think he would be the number one option on a franchise winning NBA Finals MVP good.
Right? Yeah, nobody could picture MVP, Finals MVP. And here's the funny thing: will he be? Be one of the few final. He'll be like he'll be a Finals MVP with. They're all in the Hall of Fame except for Iggy. But Iggy will probably get in because the way the Hall of Fame
He will be, yeah. I think he might. He has a chance at least.
But Jalen Brunson is definitely headed that way anyway, so he'll get in. So the trend continues.
What do you make of what do the Spurs do with De'Aaron Fox? Do you just run that back, you think, with him in this team? Or do you change anything? Or do you like what they have and you just have to say, hey, this is just a team that just doesn't have a lot of experience, including the head coach, and we just have to run this thing back?
Well, you got to ask yourself, can Harper play the point for you? If he can't, then you got to go out and get a good backup. I don't know if Harper can do that. We're not there every day. Certainly, I'm sure the skill level's there, but you might take away his aggression if you do that. So you got to go find out. Can
He
he
was
play?
extremely impressed with this guy. I mean, Dylan Harper showed that he absolutely belongs. As a rookie doing what he did,
Oh, he's a beast.
oh my lord. Like you said, these former NBA players' sons just continue just to impress. Jalen Brunson's one of them, and Dylan Harper, obviously another guy added to that list.
And then Boozer in college. These guys have
Yeah, Steph Curry,
the footwork is just fucking insane.
right? I don't think we'll be talking about Bronny James being added to that list.
Oh, Jesus, no. His Laker career is about to be over.
Well, we'll see if that's the other thing too. I don't know if LeBron, where he goes, I don't know if the other, we'll see what happens. Obviously, I think if you take LeBron, you have to be at least entertaining the fact that you're taking his son with him. But it's like Giannis Antetokounmpo with his brother, Thanos.
Yeah,
Thanos can't play.
At least Giannis has a body.
Right. Thanos can at least go in there and give you some hard fouls. He looks like he could be a bodybuilder. Giannis Antetokounmpo.
The 6'1" shooting guard with a heart problem that can't shoot.
Overall, though, this was entertaining NBA Finals. Even though the shooting percentages were low, it was extremely exciting. Even though it went 5 games too. All the games were close till the end, so it was an exciting and memorable final.
The NBA did not have a lot of close games during the postseason, and including the Knicks. But then this was close, like you said. The other good thing is it's the highest rated final since 1998.
98, I saw that. Yes,
which is great because that means that LeBron, Curry, and KD were not participating in those finals.
We love the fact that shows you that the next generation that it's still going to be an entertaining product and great to watch.
The NBA will fuck it up some other way, but the talent level is out there. I mean, it is like again, look at the foreign players are better than the American players now. Just look at the best players in the league again.
Well, how about this? Since 2018, you've not had an American-born MVP in the NBA. James Harden's the last guy.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'm trying to think who's the next guy to do that. Maybe
Anthony Edwards to me would be the next guy, or Jalen Brunson maybe.
Him, Cade, or Banchero, I guess, could get it, but
yeah,
Cade had a shot this year. Anthony, Cade, or Banchero, I guess, right? Are they the best American players? Castle.
Yeah, I mean Jalen Brunson.
Yeah, Castle, Brunson,
Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum to me would be also another guy.
Yeah, Brown.
This Knicks team to me, again, just the grit on this team, the ability to win ugly, because not all the games that they won were pretty. They were a very consistent team, winning over 50 regular season games. Just the camaraderie, the cohesiveness, Mike Brown just putting all the pieces together. Jalen Brunson being able to lead them, making big shots. Even in the first 2 games, when he didn't shoot the ball well, he made big plays when they needed to have big plays made. I give the guy a lot of credit. And this was a very likable Knicks team. I know a lot of people don't like New York winning because the fans and all the commotion and everything and the arrogance, but this was a very likable New York team, though, I thought. This Knicks group was very special. And like I said on last show or the show before, that this was the definition of a team from top to bottom.
Yes.
I think if you were to want to display and have an example of what a team should look like and how they play, they were one of them. Because they didn't have many possessions offensively or defensively, or I thought, well, that's a bad shot or that's a bad possession defensively. Just really a good group and really inspiring. Really played the right way, shared the ball, made all the right plays. They were an excellent team. They deserved it.
Yeah, they did. They deserved it, and it showed you that even though the West was a better conference, the East really ran them out.
It looked like the Spurs were the more tired team at the end of these games.
Oh, that's because the Knicks taking care of their business made a difference.
I mean, also the wear and tear physically. When you have guys that are 6, 7 years older, that makes a difference, especially when those guys are still able to play at the highest level because they're in their late 20s and you're in your early 20s.
Yeah,
big difference.
Spurs need to go get 1 or 2 more bodies that they could put in the game.
We'll wrap it up there, and this offseason, we'll certainly still continue our shows, folks, all right? So we'll have NBA Summer League, we'll have NBA Draft.